According to recent polls, most Americans think the president is not handling the Epstein controversy properly, including large portions of Trump's own voters. In a new YouGov The Economist poll, 79% of people surveyed said they think the government should release all the documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. That includes 83% of 2024 Trump voters, with just 3% of MAGA supporters answering no and 14% saying they're unsure. When asked if they believe the government is covering up evidence about the Epstein case, 67% of Americans answered yes, while another 25% were unsure. Among 2024 Trump supporters specifically, 59% believe there's a government cover-up, while 29% are unsure of it. And according to a new Quinnipiac University poll, 63% of all registered voters surveyed don't approve of how the Trump administration is handling these files. Republicans here were split on the issue, with slightly more approving, while large majorities of Democrats and independents disapproved. Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Becca Balint of Vermont. She's the vice-ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, where you are trying to make some efforts when it comes to transparency around the Epstein case files. But I first want to get you on the polling. The idea that the public seems roundly behind transparency on this case. Yes. And are you at all surprised that this is becoming the sort of sticking point litmus test in MAGA and otherwise that it's become over the last week?
Well, I want to start with the victims here, because I feel like this is getting lost. We have over 200 victims who have been trafficked, who have been abused by rich and powerful men, okay? And don't we all want transparency here? Don't we all want to know what happened? And so it is shocking to me that many of my colleagues who have tweeted about this, who have talked about this for years and years, now will not go on the record. We've had 2 votes now in the last week, one on the House floor, one in the Rules Committee, saying, don't you think it's time that we release all of the information, of course, redacting all of the victim information? Yeah. And they voted no both times. These are people who rode this conspiracy theory into office and now are showing contempt for their own voters. It's shocking.
So then what are your conversations with Republicans, if any, in Congress right now about that?
They look at their shoes. They will not make eye contact. They know they're wrong. They know they're wrong.
So in the Judiciary Committee specifically, you and your colleagues have been trying to press the head of that committee, Jim Jordan, a close Trump ally who also has massive subpoena power as the head of the Judiciary Committee, to take steps towards transparency on the Epstein case files. Jordan, for his part, has just said, I trust the president on this. It doesn't sound like he's moving. So are there other mechanisms that you can use to get the information that you're seeking here? And what are you looking for specifically?
We want Pam Bondi to come before the committee and answer questions, because she herself has been evasive, defensive. She has said one thing, months ago, and now all of a sudden she's saying the exact opposite. We need to get her on the record. The interesting dynamic, I think, that's going on in the Republican conference is that you have Jordan aligned with the president, but Mike Johnson in the last week has said, I think there should be more transparency. Yeah. And ultimately, he's the Speaker of the House. I'd like to see him put some pressure on Jim Jordan to bring these people before the committee and let us do, as Congress, our due diligence, our oversight.
I do think Johnson has played an interesting role here. You bring up the fact that he said there should be more transparency, but then when the headlines were sort of interpreting those comments as him going against the president, he said, well, that's not exactly what I mean. And so he is trying to toe that line,
always, yes.
Of course, yes. Because in large part, a lot of his victories have come from him knowing his conference, but with a boost from the president himself. And so it's a tight allyship there. But I wonder, as we go towards the midterms and we watch Democrats potentially somewhat successfully making hay in regards to polling like this and the attention that the American public has on this issue, I wonder if you think that this is actually something that could be a salient issue in the midterms, or if you think that it fits some larger frame about just mistrust in government and an attempt by Democrats to kind of grab that mantle back.
Yeah, I really appreciate the question. I think in this moment, what we are all learning as we continue to do our town halls and show up in districts or parts of our district that voted more to the right, more MAGA voters in those places, what we're hearing from those people is that they want us to push the Republican conference for more transparency, right? They have given their trust over now to a conference that is showing them deep contempt. And that's the thing. We always say red states, blue states. All the states are purple. We all represent voters who support the president. And when they are opening their eyes to the fact that they are now being treated with contempt, that is an opportunity not just to win elections. This is an opportunity maybe for us to have some healing as a country and realize actually there is a bottom. We don't protect pedophiles. Let's get the information out and see what's really there.
I actually think that this is interesting, and I want to underscore it. The idea that it seems to me like you're saying you hear about this from a broader band of supporters than just the kinds of folks that I would hear about it from at a Trump rally. Am I hearing that right?
Yes. I mean, I think it's an indication that there is a deep sense of mistrust in the government right now across the board.
Yeah.
And we have to do everything we can as leaders to reinstill that trust, or else we're doomed as a nation. And so this is an opportunity. If we can bring some people in who in the past have been completely trusting of this president and say, hey, wait a minute. You ran on this. You promised this to us. And now your own people who spread this conspiracy theory, you know, now the president is calling it a conspiracy theory, right? I'm using his words here.
Yeah.
Let's get these people in front of a committee and do our jobs as Congress. That's all I want to do. Let me do my job.
Yeah, asking for testimony from key officials does feel like something that we've obviously seen multiple times in the past. It'll be interesting to see if y'all are able to get that at Judiciary in the way you're asking. Certainly something for us to keep an eye on, as well as the larger political landscape here. Democratic Congresswoman Becca Balint of Vermont, thank you for coming on. And on the heels, I would add, of a win for Team Congress.
Thank you so much.
Women's softball game that was
Appreciate
last
that.
night. It was a technicality. It was rained out, but still.